All right, I'm sipping on Corona 2 weeks in a row, and what I am also sipping on, taking a brief break from football, is just some unfortunate news, and it's been in the news for a while, but today, Larry Nassar, I believe is his name. It doesn't matter how you pronounce his name. He's not worthy of that respect, but um, in November, he pleaded guilty to 10 counts of first-degree sexual contact with minors, with victims as young as 6 years old. He got 60 years in prison for pleading guilty to federal child pornography charges. Today began the sentencing for the 10 counts, and they're calling in, I believe they have 98 either victims or representatives of victims, advocates of victims coming in to make witness statements before the judge decides what the actual sentence will be for the sexual.
There's over 140.
150. There are 150 women that are suing not only Nassar but Michigan State University and other entities. You've had a steady stream of U.S. Olympic gymnasts that have come out that have said they have alleged that they were abused by Larry. The latest being Simone Biles, who is arguably the most prominent U.S. Olympic gymnast that we have right now, and she just came forward a couple of days ago, said that she was also abused. The question I have for you guys, twofold question. Number one, given the Joe Paterno precedent, should the NCAA step in and punish Michigan State University, who clearly was complicit in enabling this sexual predator to, attack women? So that's number one, because Michigan State, it took several years, several complaints before they actually fired him. But given what we know now, should the NCAA intervene and apply a punishment to Michigan State University?
No question. I mean, why wouldn't it? I mean, we have Joe Paterno and what he did at Penn State with his cover-up.
Right.
Now think about all the people that covered up the same thing at Michigan State.
Right.
You have to. I mean, it's ridiculous. Over 140 women.
Well, the question is, are they talking about it?
No, not.
That's because I haven't seen anything saying.
That's yes, and to me, that's what begs. That's why the question should be asked, because they seem like they're still twiddling their thumbs about what happened and what their actions were, why they did what they did or didn't do, and it seems like there needs to be some sort of intervention for somewhere, because one of the things ESPN did I guess as good of a job as you could say can be done in a story like this, because it's really disturbing, but really sort of outlining just all the points of failure within this chain over the years. And so, yeah, it to me feels like something should be done as it pertains to Michigan State. And then also the second question being to the USA Olympic gymnast program as well. Like, I mean, these are kids.
Well, let me ask this: who was the entity that paid Michaela Maroney off? Was that NCAA or was that the U.S.?
It was USA Gymnastics.
Yeah. USA Gymnastics.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're more complicit than anyone. I think, to go back to your question with regards to Michigan State, I agree. Yes, they should be, but it's going to be similar to what happened with Joe Paterno. They, people cried about it. They felt that football institution was more important than those boys' lives that were ruined. So ultimately, they didn't get the death sentence. So basically, they said that it's worse for people to receive cars and payments rather than molest boys.
Yep.
And they brought them back. So Michigan State, who has a very well-known football program and an even more well-known basketball program, the university is not going to take kind to that. And they're going to fight back, and it comes down to their alumni, on the wrong side of shit. But I mean, how long will that stand?
Well, they have many precedents. Baylor University. There are so many examples where the NCAA finds that giving somebody who's broke money it's
detrimental.
Worse.
More detrimental, yeah.
And I think they are counting their blessings. To tell you the truth, the fact that there are more The news media is preoccupied at this moment. And that's where when people pretend to care is when the spotlight is on you. And the spotlight is not on them right now because every day there's a new Trump story. There's a new something else that's more important. Because if there was nothing going on, then the spotlight would be on them. And it would probably be a different story.
Kev?
Yeah, I agree. I think, Michigan State has to suffer from this. U.S. Gymnastics has to be punished for it. And we have a precedent. Like you said, we've seen this before. This should be easier than any instance in terms of somebody suffering for these types of actions. But we talked about it a couple of shows ago when I brought up what happened with NFL Network. It's almost as though, like, we live in a culture of complicity. Like, everyone, for some reason, is on board with taking advantage of people who either have talents or don't and are relying on somebody else. These young women are relying on their instructors, their medical assistants, whoever, to help them get to the next step. And it's almost as though, like, to trade off that success, you have to, in some way, sacrifice a part of your body to somebody. And then Literally. It's a culture where everyone involved is okay with it or lets it slide. I can't. With everything going on in the world, with how the whole Harvey Weinstein and Hollywood thing went down, like, this is happening almost every week. And it's like, at some point, we, as a whole, whether this impacts you or not, you have to stop what you're doing and really look yourself in the mirror and see how you, if in any way you are allowing this to happen.